Hello, welcome. Hey, thanks for joining in to the conversation. Um, Today, I want to bring you an idea about an application dedicated towards creating a safe sexual environment for all ages, all legal ages, 18 and up, 18 to 65. Is it illegal if it's after 65? I don't know. Maybe it's a little gross. I'm not necessarily too sure, but you get what I mean, right? Yeah, so uh, try to break the ice. Maybe that was a bit inappropriate, but you know what? We're talking about sex. Sex is a taboo subject already, so I might as well just go all the way with it, right? But let's get into the app. So today I want to talk to you about an idea um, and a solution to a problem that affects, I wouldn't say millions of Americans because that's pretty dramatic. But I'd say at least a good portion of, like, especially college students. You know what I'm saying? Like a good portion of college students and just people around the world potentially could find this application beneficial. And one of the main reasons why I'm doing a presentation, one is to keep me on track because honestly, I've had this idea for a while and I'm just now getting into the development phase of it. Trust me when I tell you, I'm no coder. I'm using bare bones um, equipment. Like most of the stuff, if not all of it, 100% of this application is using an online platform. Um, I don't have necessarily the equipment to run coding software, which go figure. Well, I could. I just don't have the hard drive space. It's 64 gigs. Like you know how many gigs it takes just to download Android Studio plus Flutter to be able to develop it, and like Windows 11 already takes up like an absurd amount of space out of 64 gigs. So just bear with me, right? Basically, is what I'm saying. But yeah, so I'm actually very excited to talk to you about this application idea. The app is called Yes Please, right? And let's go ahead and get into it. Yes Please. So the purpose and the mission of this application is to provide a safe environment for both parties during adult activities, mainly sexual intercourse. And so yeah, it's pretty cut dry unless if you're like really digging the logo itself, which I am. I love the logo. Then it's pretty cut and wet. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real. But moving on, what is it? So basically, what I'm trying to bring to you is an application that provides access to users to verify their want to have sex with another user via geo-based location services. So let's go ahead and talk about an example, right? So let's say, and this is mostly for the general, like, young adult area, you know what I'm saying? So, like, let's say this is in college, right? And we have Austin and Sally, right? So Austin and Sally have been, hanging out at the cafeteria for a while now. They're both, well, Austin's kind of like some, like, general educations major. He's like, he's pretty casual. He has like a Led Zeppelin collection of like vinyls and stuff. And then like Sally is like the like homeschool like preacher girl. Like Sally's like, oh well, like, let's go get lunch. You know what I'm saying? And Austin's pretty much like, let me touch your boobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me feel your breast. That's where Austin's at, right? But you got to take things slow, right? You can't just jump into it and just be like, let me get in there. It's got to take some time. If you're trying to shred some gnar, it's gonna take a little bit of time. You know what I'm saying? So basically, Austin and Sally, they've been hanging out for a little bit, and Sally is very secure about how she wants her relationships to be, right? She wants a dedicated relationship with a good guy that's going to treat her right, right? And I can't speak for women, although this application is geared towards women in general, because you know I've had friends who have come to me about personal situations in their life where and this is kind of a dark area, but I've had friends come to me in situations in their life where you know they went to a party, they wake up the next day, they don't know what happened, right? um, they feel distraught, they feel disgusted, they don't feel so safe in their body, right? And I was like, wow, this is terrible, right? This is something that's, you know, this is something that affects a lot of American women more specifically. And so going back into the example, right? So Austin's trying to get it in, right? Austin's a bro. Austin's trying to get it in. Sally is like, you know what? Let's take things a little bit slower, right? So what happens is basically in the application, right? What I'm envisioning is that you create a user profile, right? And once you create, it's not necessarily like a social media thing because there's no like social feed or stuff like that. We're taking out all the bloat, right? It's basically you create a profile, your profile has a code, right? And then you use that code to send to somebody else specifically so that um, they can then accept you as a user, as a friend, right? As another user profile in the application, right? And in order to actually make friends on this application, you have to have an invite code that's specifically tailored to each individual profile. So not necessarily, but I would like for it so that no code, like it's like a 4-digit code or something, no code is the same amongst any of the profiles, right? So each individual profile has a specialized unique code sent that they can send to other people to be able to accept them as friends, right? It's a very privatized social platform, I guess, right? And so Sally has information about how Sally wants to be safe, right? So Sally and Austin, they're having lunch in the cafeteria. Sally wants to be safe. Sally knows of this application, yes, please, and is somebody who is a part of the community, not necessarily for the sexual aspect, but more for the fact that if the day should come, no pun intended, that she would want to have sexual relations with somebody, she already has something that helps to solidify and verify her want to have sex. What the application is supposed to do is empower both men and women in choosing who they want to have sexual relations with, at what time, at what place, right? It is to empower the individual so that they can make the proper choice and have the peace of mind in knowing that their choice is validated, right? That's the big idea when it comes to the Yes Please application, right? So Austin's like, hey, you want to hang out tonight? That doesn't sound like Austin. Austin's like, oh, so like you want to like hang out tonight? And Sally's like, well, I don't know. I thought we could like, maybe go to a movie or something, right? So like they go to the movies. They're watching like I don't know Transformers 16 or like Fast and Furious 36. However many variants of those movies there are, especially by now. This is there's so many different Fast and Furious movies. It's I mean I love Fast and Furious. Tokyo Drift was my favorite one, right? But you know what I mean, right? So Sally and Austin, they're at the movie theater. They're having a good time, right? And so Austin's like, "You want to like head over to my place now?" And Sally's like, "Sure," because Sally's actually digging Austin, right? Sally remembers, "Hey, you might have sex this evening." Right? This is like Sally's like internal like dialogue. It's like, hey girl, you're probably gonna have sex this evening, right? You know what you should do? You should wear a condom. So make sure that you have condoms, right? And you're also a part of a safe sex community. So you should probably tell Austin about it and see if he's willing to be accepted into the community so that you both can have peace of mind knowing that you both actually wanted to have verified sex, right? So Sally, via text message, well, so Sally is like, hey, I have this application. I, I'm a part of this community. It might be weird, but I feel as though that it would be important to me that one, if we wear a condom, if we're going to have sex, right? And then two, that I want to be sure that I'm willing to actually want to have sex with you, right? And Austin's like, "Oh, this is a little weird. I mean, condoms, sure, like condoms are pushing it, but like now you want me to be a part of this like weird community thing?" And it's like, no, it's not a weird community thing. It's just so that we can both agree to having sex, right? It's for my peace of mind. As I don't want to get pregnant, and I also want to solidify our relationship in a way that is physically verifiable outside of the sexual contact we're going to have, right? Which is very important, right? Because nobody wants to have sex thinking, oh shit, I might have to deal with this in the morning, right? Let's be real. You want to have sex, you want to feel comfortable just being able to bang it out. Let's be real, right? And so Sally sends her code via text message over to Austin, right? Austin downloads the application. Austin's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. I mean, the condoms was already something, you know what I'm saying? What's just downloading this application, making a profile, and just verifying our sexual contact from there. It's just another step. That really is. It's a quick, easy step, and it just helps both parties, right? So, um, basically, right, Austin has got the code, right? Austin creates a profile. Austin has his own code, right? Austin then searches for that code, that specific code for her profile, Sally's profile, right? And then accepts or adds Sally as a friend. Sally accepts the friend invite so that it's only them two, right? There's no other like search for any other individual involved in this. It's just them two, right? And so basically Sally's like, or Austin's like, all right, let's head over to a pharmacy, go grab some condoms. Let's head over to my place. we'll hang out, right? Sally's like, okay, great, right? There's no concern. There's nothing to worry about, right? So they're hanging out at Austin's place. You know, Austin's got some nice jazz music on in the background. Do 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 do. Excuse me. That's like B minor. It's supposed to be like C sharp or something. I don't know. But Austin, he's setting the vibe, right? And Sally's digging it, right? And so Austin's like going into make out. They're making out a little bit. This is not an erotica film, all right? It's very PG. It is what it is. But Sally's like, hold on, right? We should use the app to verify that we're going to be having sex together. This isn't let's get married, right? This is more just peace of mind for the both of us because I want to be sure that you're going to be, wanting to uh, be on my side if things go south. And so I want to be able to have peace of mind for me, knowing that we're both agreeing. Austin's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Right. And so basically, via the geo based location services on the application itself, right, what you have to be within maybe like a couple of yards of proximity within each other, around each other to be able to actually accept not the invite, but after the invite to be able to press yes, please. You have to be close together in order to actually press yes, please. Then from there, there's a little bit of a scroll of paperwork just to like glance over, read over, please read over it, right? And then determine whether or not yes or no, yes, please, right? So they both press on the app. Well, so Sally presses on the app, yes, please, right? And then Austin gets a notification, hey, Sally just pressed yes, please. Please read over this article, please read over this um, agreement form saying that you're both going to have sex. You're both in the same area. It's very obvious that just based off of your location, that you're both together in this area, right? So it's more than likely that if you're not having sex, it's like, what are you doing using this app, right? So you're going to be having sex. So they both say yes, right? And then from there, boom, peace of mind, nothing to worry about. Everything after that is go, 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 right? They can go animal for all they care about. There's no questions, right? There's no questions about anything. Now, granted, right? If Sally's like, "Hey, let's hold on for a second." Austin has to be like, "Okay, let's hold off, right? Let's hold on just for a second, just to see what's going on. Hopefully, she feels better, right?" There's still that element of like, if we're having sex and I'm not comfortable, then I say stop, right? There's still that element of that. And that's the very important piece is that we're empowering individuals to solidify not only their want to have sex, but also to take control of the sexual activity that they're going to be a part of, right? You can't just be a random person miles away. You'd have to be close to that person to accept the invitation. Literally like right next to each other via the location services, of which is something that I have to figure out in code in order to be able to code it out. And it's a process. I'm no coder by any stretch of the mark. Um, this is an idea that I've had for a while, and I'm just now getting into the development of it. So it is what it is. But I think it's a great concept. I think it's a great idea, and this is something to be worked towards. So the problem is that there's too many people around the world who have had situations where they were wrongfully forced into a sexual situation outside of their control. And it's very true. Um, I've had friends, I know of people who have been in this type of situation, right? I don't know if you know people or if you've had friends in this situation, but it's a very messed up situation. And nobody wants to be a part of a situation that they don't want to be a part of, right? And so this application is the idea of the application is to help provide a solution to that. Because it's like, look, if Jessica was in a party and she woke up the next morning and she was distraught, she was confused, she was in a place where she was not supposed to be, well, can we trace it? Right? And it sounds a bit invasive, but that's because like safety is invasive, right? If you think about it, you have an alarm on your door. That's an external device that you have to place inside of your home in order for you to actually be able to be notified whether or not somebody's at your door, right? There's an alarm system at your door, right? That's an external device inside of your home. If there was nothing there, then it's just your home. But you want to be safe. You want to be sure to know that if somebody is going to be knocking at your door, you know that somebody's knocking at your door, right? It's the same idea, but in an application for the social aspect of our human communication, if that makes sense, right? Because if Jessica was at a situation where she went to a party and she woke up the next morning and was distraught, confused, somebody did something to her, then that is verified and the application, she has the application, she didn't press yes please, so what happened, right? That actually turns into a legal situation where it's like we can figure out what happened so that we can provide the best care for Jessica in this situation, the peace of mind, so that we can ensure security for our females, right? But also our males as well, right? And that's the big piece is that a lot of, there's a lot of individuals who, who want to be able to ensure the security of their sexual relations with other people. Maybe you're in the private sector, right? That's another pun, but you know what I mean, right? Maybe if you're in the private sector where you want to be sure that in case if you invite somebody over to your place, that things are kept private, right? Things are kept, you know, in control, in your control, and that information doesn't just go out to the general public. You just, like people do that, right? People will have sex, and then once so somebody will just be like, "Oh well, Austin had a small penis," right? It happens, right? But Austin was like, "I told you last night to not talk about the small penis." Right? Why are you talking about my small penis? That's so embarrassing, right? It's a small situation, pun intended, but you know what I mean, right? That's kind of the least of the worries from the application standpoint, but it is something to be considered, right? So the solution is make an application that provides a legal point of access so that both participating members feel at ease knowing they're protected both physically and mentally, right? Because from like a guy's perspective, as a guy myself, I can't speak from the feminine side, but from a guy's perspective, like there are some times where I'm having sex with a woman, and it's like, shit, do I have to deal with this in the morning? You know, and that's just from a guy's perspective. It's really simple. It's cut and dry. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's kind of messed up. but also this is something that guys think about, right? So it's beneficial for both parties, both male and female, whether or not you're heterosexual, um, gay, trans, whatever, OBGYN, it doesn't matter, right? This is for just humans in general to be able to have ease of access to a form of security, a form of social security for their well being. And so now we move into the goals and kind of like the milestones of the application itself. There is a wireframe, so the wireframe has been completed. There's kind of like a base. It's a base model wireframe. It's kind of just like showing. It showcases what the app can do. Basically, it doesn't necessarily have any of the features coded into it. It's just a basic layout. And then there's a pre-alpha stage build, which I will show at the end of this presentation, um, which is not necessarily completed, but for the most part, like I finished it in a short amount of time. I got lazy, and I was just like, so. Um, After that, I cried because I was like, why is this so difficult, right? And then so now I am currently working on a new updated wireframe just for modernity's sake, just to make it look a bit more fresh, right? And then after that, then I have to basically recode the whole thing onto a new platform that allows for a little bit better ease of access, but it requires a lot more coding. That's the thing. It does require a lot more coding. I'm not necessarily too familiar with code, so um, that's kind of one of the not necessarily barricades or a blockade, but it's more like it's a barrier, right? It's a barrier that I have to try to get through. Um, so yes, it's gonna take some time, and then yeah, I'm gonna cry some more because it takes a little bit. And then another goal is to find out how to code a geo-based location system in a new language. So surprisingly, there's this language called Flutter, which is actually looks very nice. And there's a simple um, online-based IDE that you can use to be able to like put applications together. It's very cool. It's very intuitive, and I just got to figure that out because before I was using Bubble, which Bubble is a very good no-code platform. The only thing is that I'm not necessarily too sure that when I complete it, I have to. Well, I'm dependent on their servers, and I have to pay a monthly just to have their servers running in the background to host the database, to host the application itself, which is very expensive. It's very expensive. There's not going to be like I don't predict that there's going to be too many ads, if any at all, for the application itself. It's not necessarily a social network, right? So I'm basically saying I'm not looking at making money from this application itself. Basically, it's just something that I find could be beneficial to the world. Um, and then so yeah, so cry again, cry some more, and then after the app is finished, it's going straight to the app store, right? There's an eventual release. Yes, please, right? No pun intended. Also, this is just merely a presentation, just to help show that there's some noise in the background. This is merely just a presentation, just to help show that there's something going on. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing something to help, to try to help, and to also show like, hey, like I'm working on this application, right? This is not an ask for money. It's just an update on the progression of the project, right? Estimated late 2023 to mid 2024. Now, it could be done sooner. It just depends. But that's what I'm kind of going for. So now we go into the example. Okay. So we're going to go over here to the platform bubble, right? So this is the front page, or it's not the front page, but this is the second page of the app, right? So we're going to go ahead and sign in over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my email over here, of which you're totally fine to send me an email if you want. Send me an email. Um, we can go from there. And then I'm going to log in onto this other one as well. The reason being is because we're going to show the basically what it is between two different accounts. Let's see if it loads. Yes. Okay, so there's that. That's my phone number as well. You're more than welcome to give me a call if you'd like. Oh, that's the wrong page. Okay. Let's see. This is it. No, it's over here. Awesome. So let's log into this one over here as well. So basically, so in the view paperwork button, it's this is pre-alpha. Look, I just wanted to get it done, get the idea done, and see if it was actually possible first. And yes, it is possible, right? So we're gonna go over here to friends, right? So I already have a friend on this account that we're gonna send an invite to, right? So on my friends list, hey, it's me, right? And so it's a test user account. So we go to that user's profile, right? We're going to send them an invite. In friends list, yes, right? And so this is the paperwork. We're going to go ahead and agree, send me your location, right? And then, so the user you have invited has not accepted your request yet. Head over to the map page shortly to see if your map has been changed. So once the other user has accepted the request, then the map will be updated. And this is my other email. Basically, the password is password. All right, it's very easy. It's not the password for all my accounts. It's just a test password. I don't need to, tell you because you can't get into. It's a closed environment. It is what it is. You can try, and you probably, if you're good enough, you probably get into it. But you know what it is. All right. So go over here into inbox, right? Why? Because there was an invitation that was sent, right? And so we can go over here. Hey, I'm coming over. Okay. Well, you're coming over. All right. Sending invite. All right. Let's go over my notifications over here to see whether or not I have an invite. All right. So, yeah. Oh, look at that. I got invited. So let's go ahead and hit yes. Right. And so the invite has been accepted. Right now, yes, there's an issue with the Google Analytics account that I've been trying to get fixed. It is what it is. All right, let's just look past that. All right. Now, so we're gonna go ahead over into the map for both of them, um, and from there it'll be updated. Right. So on the map before it'd just be a blue screen. Right. This is just an image because the Google account. Like, I try to update the bullet method, and it's just I don't know what's going on. It's me. It's not Google. It's totally me. I just got to figure it out, right? And so basically, over here in the map, before, if there's not an invite sent, and if both users haven't agreed to that invite, which was the most difficult part of getting this done, um, it'd just be a blue screen, right? Both individuals have so one individual has sent the invite, and then both individuals agreed, right? So basically, it shows over here where they need to go in order to meet up, and then once they meet up, what I would like is a button to pop up right here once in within proximity, right? And then they hit all they have to do is hit yes, please, and then from there they'll have to agree to the sexual consent, and then boom, they can get it on like monkeys. All right. So that is the pre-alpha build of the application itself. Um, it did take a little bit of time to get this built, for the most part, and yeah, I think it's pretty cool. No code platforms all the way. I'm a huge fan of it, and we just go from there. So thank you again so much for viewing this presentation. This is an idea that I think. I mean, I've been trying to get this idea flushed out for a while. So bear with me. It's still going to take some time, and I do appreciate you uh, for watching this. This is more or less just to help motivate me to give me some sort of like to say, hey, I've talked about this now. Let's put this into production, right? It's still going to take a little bit of time, but we're getting somewhere, right? So stay safe. Have a good one. Thank you for your time. And hey, maybe you'll be saying yes, please, a little bit. Right? That big O. Right? Have a good one. Okay, not that big oh no, but that big oh yes. Okay. That big oh yes. Cheers.